Okay, so the Australian dollar has managed to make it back to fair value, back to the middle of the road of yesterday's range. This is the 1 hour chart, and I'm just looking at this. If I just take from here to the top of yesterday, and here's the trap coming into Asia where you have your sell limits right at the edge where like, oh yeah, it's a little bit higher. And this is a classic thing that happens every Asian session. You will see the trap. So here, when they took it down here and took out, they went for the low of the day here, you're getting in there. So the Asian trap, I guess you'd call it. No offense to Asians. And so they have to retest that again. So you cut it. There's so many trades in here. Now, next week, you think they could pull it down to here, and if they do, who's not scalping up into at least, if you scalp just the wick range on that, you made money. So it's a pile of trades on just this one currency pair. I was just looking at, people were posting stuff about Australia CAD, this to that. And I put up all the Australian pairs, but you're really looking at the same thing in essence. I mean, the spread is your enemy. Here, the spread is 1.6 here, which is okay. I'd say 2 pips. Anything more than 2 pips, and you're kind of in that territory of where it's a little bit to manage. That's what they say about some of those women. She's a lot to manage. People say, yeah, she's good looking, but a lot to manage there. Now the thing about it is, how do you, if right here, I kind of bought this, I kept hitting the button. I think this morning I was just hitting, so you can't take anything seriously here. This is a demo account where I'm just going to see if the damn script even runs. So if I was going to really trade this, I would definitely put in the buy limits. And I wrote this psychotic script that lasts, and I got sick and tired of launching this. So what I did was I made this a 2-hour script. Now you can test this out. It's kind of insane, but it's basically a buy low, sell high scheme. And I think it might even have a hard stop on it. So it's going to put in 8K on this one key, and this is going to last for like 2 hours. I think there's a master stop down here. Oh wait, there's one stop sitting outside, but this could be from a different time because I actually put this in again. So every 2 hours, if you wait 2 hours and you drop that same thing. Now, if you're going to risk, if you really have that kind of money to risk, people talk about, well, I'm risking 10K. Well, how much are you risking dollar-wise? $50. Okay. If you think about this order here is going to cost you $20. And what are the chances that if we go take a dippity-do that you can't buy something? I'm having a big problem. I just watched another Akil Stokes thing because I really like the guy. I mean, these are nice people, you know. Like I said, you could have lunch with them, but when it comes to trading, you gotta kind of be like a real psychopath. Like you just gotta be like, you know, I'm just gonna buy. Okay. Oh, really? Oh, so you're gonna buy low? Yeah. And you lay that grid in there. Now you can walk away from this trade, but you'd have this on a different account. If you're gonna trade Akil Stokes style, and I don't even know how big he's trading, but if you think you're going to get like this, it's going to come in and you're going to miss your entry by 5 pips, are you kidding? So I bought here. I kind of just kept buying here at the market with a 25 pip stop, I think. And this is just the 100 grid. So we're below the 100. We bounced off the 100 here, right out of Asia. Isn't that funny? Another thing to notice is that you just have to ask now this is, I'm experimenting here with this 2-hour script because I'm tired of, okay, what's really pissing me off about the market is that I don't have time to manage the fact that, okay, this is, I hate to go back to the woman-man relationship, but if you're a trend trader, then you're probably somebody that can handle being married. Because you have to be up for the fact that this psycho babe, who might be the hottest babe on the planet, has said to you, well, she says, where are we going? We're going here. Next thing you know, she forgot something at home. I'm like, oh my God. Then, we're going to go get, oh wait, somebody just called me on the phone. I don't know if you've ever had to endure somebody's side game. So you're like, well, I know we're going up. because I know this big void's been forming. Can we just get there? And they're like, oh no, we're here, but we're going to come back to here. Well, the fact that she's going to come home now, had you bought up here and got trapped and put your stop here, you're definitely, if you're trying to manage this woman on the basis that she's going to do something rational, now you're really going to be pissed. And this is why they used to hit women, is because I'm not saying you should hit women and you're not supposed to do all these things, but there was a reason for that, right? Because men are thinking differently. They wouldn't trade like a girl. If you taught a girl to trade, she would outtrade you if you're an angry guy. Probably, right? Because you're going to sit there and go, oh, give me this thing, give me that thing. And you know you're right. You know you're right about these moves. And if you're really eager about getting in on these stupid setups, so you do have your buy limits that start here at closing price, include this wick all the way to Memphis. This is what your grid looks like. So I'm gonna post this in the comment thing, and I hope somebody's gonna tell me that, hey, you're gonna lose on that. Right. Now here's the trick. This is I think this is buying every 10 pips. 8K, 80 pips deep, master stop here. If I drop that every hour, it's different than if I drop it every day. Now, the amount of exposure on this scenario, and the take profits are up here. See, so this take profit is probably connected to, I'm not sure what's going on internally, but this is what's going on as far as the scenario that I wrote it for. So yeah, it's a script for a comedy, right? Romantic comedy. So we do have this perfect bottom became a top coming into Friday's session. Yeah, the sellers are going to come in. It's a down day. We could finish in here. But how low? Okay, there's a big reversal here. Here comes the closing of the United States bond market. So here's going to be wacko. We'll see some serious volatility now across all these currencies right now. We'll go to the live chart here. So we could get a fill here on the close. Now, the things that are difficult, I think, for people when they trade this news is they're not trading wide enough. You see all these things I bought here? Like, either bought that at the market or I bought it on a stop that gets filled if this thing should even show a sign of coming back to life in the other direction. Now, since I just want to wait, I'm going to wait 15 minutes to drop the same script. Now, from the 15-minute perspective, you can see that even back here, had you been running this, and I don't know if I was running it back here, I can't remember what was happening earlier today, but imagine you're running that same scenario, and you're only going to fill slightly on that. So you're really not getting into big, and when you get in, they're winners, kind of, if you get the fuck out. There's caveats and everything, but if you're going to really trade 100K in one ticket, why don't you just trade 10K or 8K per button? This way you know you have a limited risk exposure. It's a perfect situation because you're going to be a disciplined trader. You're going to stick to your trade plan, which is hard built in, and you know what you're risking per hour. So I'm going to hit it again. And the market's already moved a little bit. So to have it interwoven like this is the key. Now, if these lasted an hour, each one lasted an hour, and you had enough money in your account, and these master stops here couldn't get taken out, can you see how that'd be like a killer trade? Now, if you go to the 4 hour, you're like, yeah, I could see that happening. Like, when has this not happened in these markets? So this is free. You know, you could do the, bottoms become tops, become bottoms, right? We're back to fair value. Here is the scalper's delight. We come back here. I said buy here on 2 standard lots. I was kind of joking. I said put your stop here. Now notice that the trend traders are all going to put their stop there. If you didn't scalp out of that bounce, you can't see it here in the 4 hour, but there was a bounce up. Now you got this doji, and the guy in the other video said, hey, don't trade breakouts. Okay. Imagine you put a buy stop and a sell stop there. Do you need to back test this? You just need to know that that's a 20 pip. Like if this is 100 pips from here to here, this is what? You can't dial down too far on this stuff, right? Because this is like being married to probably she's going to kill you later on in the relationship. You're going to be on forensic files. You're going to be in the dumpster. But that's how these markets are. And the thing is that this is a linear grid. You could make it so that it's more peppered out. It's a million ways to Tuesday. There's no, it's the ultimate expression. So instead of expressing yourself in over trading, you're building scenarios that you need to get some sleep, you know. I'm just speaking for myself. You know, I'm so addicted to watching if my orders are going to fill and what's going to happen, and is this strategy going to, like, I'm going to trade this technique, which is really hard to trade somebody else's style. So if you're good at, say you go try to do karate, next thing you figure out is that you have if you're right-handed, your left side is weak. And you've got to actually lead with your weak side. So you've got to keep hitting because you've already got the other one down. You're never going to find any, but you're just trading small enough so that you know when you hit that button, you're risking $20. I don't even know what. So this probably won't fill during this session here, but I'm saying that if this order lasted, if you have a day job and you want to babysit this crap, you just pepper the market every 25 pips and walk away with one case. I mean, isn't that painfully obvious? You open an account, you put $100 in there. You put 10 orders in, risking 20 pips per order. Are you going to give, whatever the number you need to leave you with $50 in the account, $100 in the account? Put in 3Ks. 20 pips stops, you're risking $6, you got $100 in the account. Now, certainly in the real world, if you only got $100, you're going to place orders in by hand. That makes sense. Very precise, very low risk, but those will be written. We just make them in this hard drop thing. We just do these single drops. So this single drop is a completely different style order. Script trading. These are precise. Now you can make these any size you want, but it's just one hit, and you've got to build the whole. And here it actually tells you what to do. So this is if you go to that script thing. This is in the single drop, or it's called drop orders. But this script's out on the internet. It just has the time stripped out of it. So I've got the time switch here. But this is a 10 pip stop to make 30 pips. Now, is that possible during certain phases of the market? Like right now, it's 5 minutes after the top of the hour, we could get a retrace on something. There could be a backlash. If you're not already in, this is either breakout or a limit, because this one will change wherever you place it. If you're above price, it immediately becomes a buy stop on the chart, and it switches back and forth to buy limit if it's below current price when you drop it. And the moment you drop that on the screen, is very precise placement, it's going to show up. And I actually named it like that so that I could tell whether or not that on the screen got filled on a buy stopper. And then I made the color blue for buy. So that was another way to kind of play. This way you can place all your orders if you don't have a lot of money to blow. Like if you're really trading these 10Ks people talk about, I'm just boggled to death that anybody would on a 10K trade at the market when this has been known for, I guess, I don't know. You don't need a robot to launch this thing. This is nothing but a freestanding script, like it's just an instruction for one event. It's a single event EA. It's not really an EA, but it's just one bullet in your gun, your black powder gun, you got to reload. Now, that's definitely a problem because you've got to think a little bit. Hey, where's a good place to get in? So, And should I get in now because it's dead in the water on stops? Those only two things I'm thinking is, okay, well, are we done tanking or done going up? And if we've gone up really fast, really hard, I'm putting sell stops underneath, but I'm selling sell limits have already been placed ahead of time. Just because the market's smashing up, I guess if you look at it like this, you're going to get on your train and you're going to take a train ride to the next train station. You're going to get off that train. Okay, this is the normal relationship you'd hope you and your girlfriend could agree on. But it doesn't turn out like that. She wants to go. She forgot something at home. So you're with a really hot, dumb girl. So she can't even manage. So to accommodate that, your doji scripts are when you're at the train station waiting for her to come back to whatever next story she's going to tell you. And this is how you do it. And this way, you are free from being the decider, right? You don't want to be Bush. But the fact that you're not deciding this and not directing this is just a really unmanly thing. And people want to whip out this Gartley and prove that, and make an argument, make a case for this is where we're getting in because of this, this, and this. You line up all this stuff that's supposed to make sense. So when you finally have enough money to babysit this psycho babe, and now all of a sudden she's not satisfied, and you're like, oh man, I cued it, and now there's something else wrong, right? This is why they came out with these dolls for 10 grand that are like fake people. And they'll just be updating that later. Okay, so the Euro yen's recovering here. So I'm just trading this one guy, the Australian dollar right now. But yeah, this is not a bad spread here. So let's go to the 5-minute chart. You would have had to place your buy limits here on the 5-minute chart. If you're going to trade, you wouldn't get filled, see, because if you had your buy limit here, this spread here is your problem. So the spread would have to be tight enough. So you're actually going to have to buy in here. You would have got filled if you had your buy limits in here, but you're only up this much in the trade, and they're about to crush through and stop out and break out to these guys. And your doji script, your only really juicy entry was when the ATR was smallest right here. Right? Looking for the Bollinger Bands to come together, but there's no lag. This is just closing on highs, closing on lows, just simple stuff. They've trapped these people on the 5-minute. They could probably take it back to at least this low. But the ask is already there, but the bid's got to get there for you to get that target dead on. So if you're trading at point, if you're trading on the Eurodollar right now, you have such a tight spread that you would get filled on these trades. That's the deceiving part about a lot of these markets is, yeah, when the market's got a crazy, a bad spread on closing prices, then it's going to be brutal to get filled. Your targets that you Fibonacci, even if Fibonacci was right, you still got to put the spread in there. You still got to figure that. And here's a nice, just balanced stair step down. And this is supposed to become resistance, and it fails. It cuts through, and they cut back. And this is why you really have to be buying this vacuum, this baby vacuum on limits, and because you can't run the breakout scripts. In other words, when the market heats up like this, then you have limits going and single directional stops. So when it is going up, you're putting sell stops in underneath. When it's gushing up, you're putting in sell stops underneath and a couple sell limits ahead of it, or you've already placed them up there hard. These are got to be scalps built into these because you're always going to get this kind of like, it's going smash up, and it's going to get a little choppy and it might re-smash. During this sideways thing, you're dropping the bracket orders, so you have to have all this stuff on deck. You know, at least the canvas a whole area with limit orders, linear grid, have hand placed orders where you know there's keys. But if you don't know and you don't care, there's a way to make money with those two situations. Because if you don't care, if you told somebody, listen, you want to risk $8 a week, $10 a week, name the number. If you're going to run, this is risk 20 to make 40, this is risk 15 to make 30, 4 hour, right? How long is that thing going to last, right? You place them on the chart one by one. Now, this is something you could get the neighbor kid to do. No adult wants to concern themselves with dropping a bunch of itty-bitty orders around a certain wick area. It's, even this is the only work part, right? But people are willing to, it's funny, when people have enough money in their day job, they're willing to sit back and say, well, you know, I got to get some skin in the game. Why don't I just place some orders in there? Well, if that's the case, then just drop the grid. Just drop the random grid and walk away, because that's going to work. That's like the, you're going to lose money on that sometimes, but you have a known risk. So these two grids here last 2 hours. If I hit that, if I don't wait, like if every time I wait to hit that key, if I wait a half hour, an hour, I stack up all these orders. By the end of the day, I'll be sitting on like 80. I mean, maybe there's 300K waiting to get filled. But if the market had been dropping 20 pips per hour or per 5 minutes, what you want to do in that case is, if you happen to be in front of your monitor when that's happening, you are hitting this button every 5 minutes and laying in a grid that's 80 pips in front. Now, once again, presupposing you can forward every time you're dropping one of these things. But the best trades in Forex are the swing trades. So the swing grid's laid out in front, a retracement grid, and it can also be logarithmic, so it buys here in a beautiful, I'm still looking for the damn formula in this fucking spreadsheet to spit out the numbers for me, but I guess I'm just going to have to get one of those slide rulers, go back old school. But you're going to, instead of buying linear like this, it's going to buy here, and buy here, and here, and then here. So this is, you're going to get your fib ratios here. This is 23%, 38, 62, 100 and whatever. But so really, it's going to, like the micro, if you zoomed in on it, it's going to be like you buy one here at the market, then you buy, then you buy, then you buy, and then your stop is here. This way, you're not getting trashed on this entry, but you're also not getting filled. But the thing is that the market has a tendency to, in other words, if you have two of these and you kept dropping this, when the market's really plunging quickly, you might even get filled on this top one. And the next moment in time, when you drop that, the overlay is going to look like this. Right? So it's a fractal upon a fractal, and then the next grid might look like this, but the density will keep piling up down in here where, and if this lasts for 4 hours, imagine this, all this stuff every hour, whatever you stack this up. It's like you're trying to create a perfect storm and for a perfect net, a perfect minefield for the market to come in, trigger, and come out. But without regard to that, so you're running this, plus you're running the breakout thing. So maybe you're trading, which is like option trading, really. I hate to tell that guy that was saying you're going to lose. It's like options. How long can the market go sideways? So all the option traders are putting in. People are buying puts and calls right now. If you're Forex option trading, binary option trading. And I saw a really funny binary option thing that was cracking me up. So that's funny stuff. All the people that are like, never losing trade. But that's what those guys are doing out here. Like when it's just And of course, when they're testing down in here, I'm kind of inclined to put the buy stops in. I guess that's my trade for down there. Okay, so this could pop up to this round handle in the next 10 minutes. Boom, gone. But who cares, right? But the thing is another issue is the patience involved. Now, these orders here, I just bought on stops here. I think these were all stop entries with just a kind of end of the world stop. Put a real wide stop on these guys, but it kept on getting picked up every time I saw it go down. I kept hitting the buy button. So I've accumulated down here just like the market's accumulating itself here. And this is a zoom out on the 5-minute. But if you don't think this is worth it, I mean, look at the amount of money here. Now imagine this grid. The size of this grid is an 80 pip grid. If you had dropped that grid, a couple of them right here, and this is right at the top of this channel, you are dropping this psychotic, you've left your keys at home trade, and you capture this whole smash down and back up. That's when you banked so hard on that style or that thing here. Maybe here you did scalp these micro bounces, but that's not going to be, this is 80 pips deep. And another thing is, instead of a pip grid, if you write hard, not these single drops, because these are like this, where you're just going to pick precise places, you're going to stack them all up where everybody's stops are. So it's going to look like this. So you throw the linear grid in just to get the party started. You got to pay, like, you don't have to know where the market's going to make money, which I know that sounds just completely insane. And when I heard Mark Douglas say it the first time, I said, this is years ago, and I'm thinking, oh, no, there's got to be a Gartley out there somewhere, a Gartley bot. I said, that's bullshit. Who talks like that? Now, this is before I lost my mind. I think it was kind of, you always think, man, I used to, like, read books and everything, but I just don't care anymore. But back when you think you had, like, knowledge your first time, you're like, well, I've been to school and I never heard of such a thing. You mean I don't have to know where the market's going to make money? What are you, nuts? Of course, option traders that trade volatility breakout, they don't need to know where it's going to make money. But like I said, the guy that's driving the car, the woman's in the passenger seat, and the tendency is that you're going somewhere. So people's lives, people want to have, this idea that the market's going somewhere. But in the meantime, while it's on its way there, I don't think I'd have the heart to ride a single standard lot down this channel. I don't think I could handle it. Honestly, if I was watching my equity fluctuate, I've seen it happen before. No sir, didn't like it. It was like this, okay? Here is your 5-minute channel. And the horizontal picture of getting in and out of this puppy is this double bottom. This double top becomes that double bottom. Support blows through, traps here. The first time you can draw this channel is right here. When it comes to here, oh my God, look at the amount of people getting in on closing prices. Notice they're not getting in on the trend lines. When people draw, if I see another person draw a trend line like that, I'm just going to blow my brains out. I'm like, it's not a trend, dude. That's a psychosis. Okay? At least there has to be a manly part of this game, and it's drawing this on close. Like, honey, we're late. Okay? We're on the clock here. Now, the pitchfork method, I saw a guy post a pitchfork in my MT4 script trading. I was like, oh, the pitchfork people. I'll tell you what, pitchforks, when I saw that pitchfork, I said, that's it. Only because it's dual channel, right? Dual channel memory. There's the down channel on the clock. Got nothing against channel trading. But you got to do on the clock. And as soon as I saw the pitchfork, I said, well, why not just add another tine on there? So you got dual channel here. How about this? Channel envelope trading. You only take trades in this window based on tops become bottoms. Or we can see the hunt. Everybody's aware of that window. And the thinner you slice that, the more there's a gold mine in here. If you're prepared to keep on placing the pending back at the starting gate. So look at all the retests on that. That's a lot of money. I don't know why you'd even think about it. It's bad enough I got channels on here. When you could put stuff like Gartley on there, God, man. Come on. If it worked, Akil Stokes would trade it during the news if it worked. Right? I have no fear of trading that in the news. Okay, we could come back here and we're going to try to trap these guys. So what's happening in reality is, where's the next place we're going to get take profits is going to be right now, because they just trapped this. We're right in the apex of that, and the next place would be here. But this is where you want to sell and come back. So this is what the problem with trading is that you've got sell limits here. You got buy limits here. People say, well, I don't know. I don't need to know. All I know is that if they do come up here, they're probably going to trap and come back at least a little bit. So I'll place all the scalps ahead of time. And when you come back and you're like, it's crazy, but I actually put a buy limit here. When they came back and poked in there, not only did I make money on this one, and if the target was actually up here, where we kind of knew there would be another fight, plus we knew this was going to be the place everybody plays bottom become top, this trio. And this is the thread that serves us now. This way we want to get out and go flat. So you go flat, you're going to get everything that's a winner right now. I don't know what's a winner on this thing. Hopefully I'm up on something here. So I'm going to get out of everything that's and reduce my exposure. I'm in other stuff on this thing because I traded every Australian pair. Everything. So you definitely want to cash out because we could get a slam down now. So here I'm going to put another psycho grid in. So at the end of the day, this broker will fill all these orders. You're stacking up this monster, you don't care where the market's going thing. Then you've got all this Gartley nonsense up here. Oh, look at this. Top becomes the bottom. And then, so they've trapped these bears and they think, oh yeah, it's going to keep going down. And here's the bullish argument, or they had built their support off of here. So see this is the 30-minute rollover. This is your 1-2 punch. This is the first place you can draw a trend line. It gives you the third touch, fourth touch, breakthrough, come back, find resistance on the half hour, pull the trigger, or you've already got your sell limits up here because you know it's a trap. Either way, but if you want to entertain yourself with these channels and pitchforks, sure. But your screen's going to look like a fucking mess. Here, this is another thing. You could duplicate that interval and just keep on duplicating that interval. You create your own Gann grid there. Oh, jeez, I'm going to scroll there. But, so I'm going to need more screen space for that, but this is the idea, right? This is the whole, people are projecting where it's going to go. And you probably want to turn on the chart shift here, go to properties, and put this guy on chart shift. Okay, so now you can decide next week what you're going to do. Now, if you go to the weekly, a 4 hour, which is like the weekly chart, you see how ridiculous all this is? But in a kind of a fractal way, you can take one of these guys and copy it back, and you can find inflections on. This is why anything works with random lines. And some guy posted in this thing, how are you going to make money with random? I know it doesn't make sense, but if I duplicate this, everything I drew on the half hour, and if fractals are true, that, in other words, it's just a world within a world, that if I take this and drag it over, copy this over, I get the same timing on this downtrend. Problem is, you're going to need to risk 50 pips on this and wait for hell to freeze over. But once again, where do you put your sells? Right here, where every bear has his stop. Every bear has a, right? They have them here again. This is your entry. Forget Fibonacci. Forget. Look at the round number. You have to, if you think this is head and shoulders, you're buying everything past the shoulder. And the confirmation is that you fill your limits on the head. You ride to the scalp. You dump. Let the rest go. Maybe it's not going to the moon. You need to scalp the wick first, out of the gate. I think it's just a no-brainer. Isn't that just painfully obvious? So, is this the rate of change that this thing's capable of? Sure, right? Here it's actually dropping quicker than that. But look, top becomes bottoms here. Oh, it's like magic. Not really, because this is random. I could just go like this and drop that line. I just threw that randomly. Yeah, it's roll over here too. Look, comes back. Here's the bull train. Oh, they're all like riding this channel. Everybody's like, oh yeah, everything's great until boom. Well, everything is great until they trapped everybody thinking, oh yeah, look, we're going to go to this handle next. So we're on our way to and I've heard people say this is going to 74, but damned if it'll ever get there. Another big problem with expecting, this is the 4-hour chart, huge thing here, but this became barely got back to that for the fill on that. Yikes. Okay. So this market's pretty tame here, but yeah, so I don't care in the long run where it's going because I can only live for the next 5 minutes. So that's why most of the stuff I do is scalping, because I just don't want to know about the rest of this stuff. I don't want to get married again. Okay, well, depends on what you look like, but then you go down the same road again, right? Great looking pattern. It looked great in the beginning, you know. It looked good on paper. That's what they always say. Look good on paper. So the buyers are here on the triple. Now, are you going to scalp some of this? You have to. If you can see a 5-minute chart, you're already out. So I dumped down whatever I was in. Now, I would say, if I thought the market was going to be open for another 10 hours, put the buy limits in. But this is actually, in a way, it's conservative, because do you really think this thing could drop by the close of today this far? And that's the question. On the 4-hour chart, with a 4-hour order, you're willing to buy. Now here, they would have creamed you. On this drop here, if you would have kept hitting that, absolutely would have creamed you. That's why if you trade this sideways, market goes sideways, you got to trade both strategies. So here was your chance to get short. Here was your chance to get short or long. It didn't matter. And when you do run this, okay, this is, if it's a 1-hour script, and this is what it looks like. And of course, when you see the first plunge here, you don't want to run. You don't want to have, okay, this is the other thing. You want to be running and buying, not every 10 pips, every 25 pips. So the script's going to look more like, say you bracketed this, because you have to run this breakout strategy. I know people say it loses money. It's so funny when people say that. It's true, but this is the high probability trade. It's dumb, but here's your only times you could get in here on the 4-hour. Looking for a 20 pip window on 8 hours, maybe, ideally. Breakout strategy, you don't care if you could have it biased to the long side, because obviously we're going up, but it didn't help you here when, this pullback went sideways here. this is such a tremendous come down here, and people think this bottom is supposed to become the support, right? We're supposed to continue. It does not happen. Goes sideways. People are like, uh-oh. And not to mention all the protection bots. Some of this is triggered by just stops being filled, right? This void's being filled. So would you be buying here on the 4-hour? Yeah, a little bit, of course. And then, of course, you'd probably, if you hand place the orders, you're going to buy all the way down to here. If you really think this is going up in the end, or do you think that this is on its way to the bottom, right? That's always going to be the question. So can you lose money on this too? Yes, you can totally lose money on this. But if you did buy every 25 pips blindly here, market's trading here on the 4-hour, you're like, man, I'm bullish on this puppy. It's been going up foreverville. Okay, let me just throw a grid in like this and walk away. And you leave it there for 1 day or 8 hours. You probably only got filled on a couple of these. You do it again the next day, or you just keep stacking them up. Now, you scalped out of that. Here was your, I'm going to sell on my breakout bot. You got to be running that breakout bot. And the breakout bot has tight stops and greedy exits on both sides. Spills out. Goes sideways. Maybe it's not going up. Who doesn't want to make easy money? This is option trading, but now had you in the option market, the people that write options and they write the puts and calls, they take an immense amount of risk, because when these triangles form, they're making money as nothing's going on and the option's expiring. So they make money in sideways markets, and here they made a bunch of money. The options traders, people that bought puts and calls here, the time decayed and they became worthless. Now, had they pulled the trigger on an option down here, even a binary option, damn, they cleaned up on that one leg. And that's the volatility breakout. And this is why people trade options, because it's a high probability game. And the swing traders, the people that are like, I'm just going to sell at this 100 pip handle, and when it gets to here, I'll get out of something, let the rest go to the next 100 pip handle, and just trade like complete. Not to mention that this whole marching up created this giant vacuum underneath. So I always think the Gartleys that you guys are drawing, this is the Gartley to me is the whole. I don't hang it off the price. This is the triangle. So we march up there, climb the wall, worry. Bonds become tops here. Last gasp, and boom, it's over. But yeah, we're buying here a little bit, and we're buying fib plunges down, like I said here. And you have to have those scalps along the way so you can pay the rent. And always scalping. That's the fun part, I think. That's the dating part. So yeah, if you're scalping, you're dating, right? Or you're horning around. You're like Bill Clinton. So you got like, a lot of blue dresses hanging out. And thing is, somehow people look down upon, they frown upon that. Oh, you're gambling. Well, yeah, but this is easy money, right? Double bottom on the 15-minute here. End of the day, last support level, double bottom, buy stop. The Doji bot pulls the trigger here. Let's hope. He's up. Last, come back to fair value. Sure, we all want to see it go to here for one last trap. We're hoping it traps here on these triple tops, and a lot of people are going to get out there because it's just a feeding zone. It's just how it is, right? Like it or not. So this is the, we got, stock market is going to close here in 20 minutes. So could this thing come roaring back? Sure, why not? late, any time of day. It doesn't have to be later in the day. Any time of day, there's always a trade. Look at this 15-minute smash and grab. And a perfect double top becomes a double bottom on the clock, dead on this broker. Hello. So obviously this is a big deal. And look at this cute little top that became a bottom of the 15 that started that whole party up into here. Then they come back to here, so you have to be just thinking, okay, let's put the buy limits in here. Start stacking them up by hand, because there's no way that I've been able to get precision on, if you're going to blanket strategy, but you're running a blanket strategy too. You're doing it all. You're doing it all. If you want to see the rate of return on that one strategy, maybe you don't want to do it all in one account, because you're not going to be able to say, look at what it does. See, like if you had a Doji account and all you wrote is volatility breakout, and you kept your, you stuck to your word, and you said, I'm just going to trade breakout only on that one account to see how that theory works. That's what you do. But we know it works, right? The only thing is how tight of stop do you have, and that's going to determine the spread. So, and this is moving up right now. There's no trade. So in the 15-minute, you know that you can't launch the Doji bot now. The only chance you had to launch it was a couple here. Maybe they chopped you up a little bit, but you made it back here, and the spread's tight enough that you can make money on that script. Now, in the last hour here, the spreads are going to get wide on some of these guys, and it's just going to be ridiculous, right? There's no trades left, really, at the end of the day. But you don't need a PhD to go back. And even on if you're going to go for the 1 minute chart, you're really looking for this kind of thing where you're drawing triangles now. Here's your triangles forming. And here you just got to realize that when it gets like teeny tiny, yeah, you launch your thing there. I'm going to draw a trend line here. This is the trend line you're expecting to break. Goes all the way back to here. You're looking for this. And here was your reason to buy here, because you drew a really steep trend line. You're like, well, this channel is not on the 5 minute, on the 1 minute chart. Right, you're in this channel here. It comes back, breaks out. People are getting in the pullback, but people are just getting in horizontally. They're just getting in because look how many times this thing ricocheted down here. So you can't see it. You can't really see this on the 1 hour chart, but there's people like just literally getting in here on this grid strategy. So the other night I ran this and made money. I was sleeping, and I would just wake up every hour and just hit the button and look at the market, because I don't really sleep. I think Forex kind of screwed up my ability to sleep. But I look at the thing and I say, you know what? Look at this puppy. Throw a grid in. I'm like, damn, that thing's making money. And what I did was I just had a really wide. I had a master stop on all these guys. But like I said, you can't throw this out in front of a market that's screaming down and you're going to buy every 1 pip. Yeah, you're just going to blow out that bank. So just do the math on each order bank if you're going to trade in these banks. And realize that the market's going to go and overshoot the runway. Basically, another thing you guarantee is the market's going to go boldly where it's never gone before. So here you can see the top. On the 1 minute here, you can see you got a top, bottom. The next logical thing is we're going to go up. Last gust of wind here. All the scalpers are looking at this breakout pullback here, right? Gone. Go to the 5 minute. Breakout, pullback. It's itching to come back to the big round number. Or just kind of trap these bulls here. Just beyond here. But I like to scale in and out because I don't want to be in these markets through these terrible. Who is holding a standard lot, watching their equity go all over the map? Like, even if you're right in the end, you say you bought here, and when it came to here, you bought. Like, damn. Now, you're watching your equity, you're underwater, watching it swing underwater. It's just as bad as if you bought here. I can't think of any good scenario where I want to see my equity blistering all over the map. Had you been so genius to buy here and had a stop here, and you're just watching this thing go wackadoodle. This is a 5-minute chart, so that's quite a bit of torture, in my opinion. I want to be getting out of something right here and something right here and something right here. In fact, I'm going to go flat if it comes back to this bottom. And I'm going to reload that same script. But that is the way to do it. I mean, to take advantage of what most people would call untradeable noise. Oh, you're going to lose. I don't think so. I made money the other night. Now, it wasn't a fluke because it was, I overlaid 2 different time frames. So I was able to snare this thing. And you could have also run a symmetrical, just like on the breakout theory, like say the market's trading sideways, you put a buy stop here and a sell stop here. When the market goes nuts down, it may go nuts up. So when it's down here, you put in sell limits and buy limits equally. Now, I know it sounds really inconceivable, but if you look on the chart, had you put in buy limits and sell limits with a hard stop and they cash out as it comes back to fair value where you got in, then every time you're at the 100, if you hit that key, or just every 4 hours you hit that key. Now, you would overtrade it if you, say you get in here with the buy stops, and maybe you cashed out of some of this, and the sell limits are up here waiting to get filled right now. You have to orchestrate that. Now, that is true. You literally you've hired a string section, which would be all these limit order grids laid out, and you hired a oboe section, whatever is on the sell side, and you've got to have them coming in and out. They've got to be, the wide ones stay here all night. These are your bass notes, right? And the high frequency ones, right? The flutes and all that. That's trading the scalp part. But that's the way I'm looking at it, because I watched another guy in a video today say that, well, I'm doing a webinar and all of a sudden the market takes off and the guy in the chat room says, hey, how come you didn't trade that? And everybody's thinking that. And I don't think you ever stop thinking that. And there is a trade plan for that situation. Now, maybe you don't want to chase that trade, but is there something you can do about it that doesn't take any, if you've already got the hand placed orders, you can see where the market's going. So when the news comes out, imagine it's news day. This is how I trade the news with a 50 pip stop. If I knew the news was going to come out today, this is the daily chart. I would put buy limits. I would put a buy limit here for an exit here. I'd put a buy limit here for an exit here. Put a buy limit here for an exit here with a stop. And then come in and do another array. And then I would just on the rounds, and then I would come back here and say, look at this. Bottom becomes a top here. Wow, do they love that price or what? Would you buy down here and get out here with a stop here? All day long. Can we make it down there today? Probably not. But as long as you place, and it's better to do it by hand, because if you let the robot do it, he's going to probably stack up and pixelate, and you're going to ruin. But you could have, now what I've decided is to come up with a 25 pip and a 50 pip deep node order, and the nodes. So I would just call it N for node, and I'm going to call it by node. So by node, and then the time, H4. And how many pips? The first thing I'm going to put is 25 pips. And what it is a by node, say 100 pip by node. Now it's hard coded. We're almost at the 100-yard line right now. But since it's an area, node, a cluster, iceberg order, dark pool, whatever you want, fill in the blank, since we're trading right here, right now at the round number, well, 20 pips. If you dropped it right now, I don't think it's going to fill, but imagine the news is about to come out. And it would basically consist of, it's going to buy in a window like this. And there's going to be a hard stop on this puppy. And the exits are going to be all the way to here. But it's not just one order. There's just a bunch of orders in here. And then here's the exits for all that. But not just one. So if I have another node here, but this would be my node zone. So when people talk about this kill zone, yeah, it's a kill zone, all right, but you can't lay one mine. And I know this guy Stapleton is military. I mean, you got to think like that. You can't lay a minefield out with one mine. Well, I know they're going to hit the rounds. Of course they are. Always going to be a good trade to get around, in around this round number. Also a place to get the hell out. But look at the pivot at the round where we're at right now. In fact, this bottom became this top on the daily. Are we going to keep tanking down? I don't know. And what if we don't keep tanking down? Oh, here comes the euro selling off against the yen here. I'm next week, if we do make it to 74, we're buying for the scalp to here. So the market's already laid in the track. The track's laid. Next week's a no-brainer. Stupid. Here's a 4-hour chart. So look at this 5-minute. Still waiting for this thing to complete. Look how this is. Who has the patience for this crap? So, top becoming a bottom on the 5. We should logically, the last gust of wind should be up the upside here. Then zip it, close the door, bye, I'm done. But, and the stock market's going to close in X time here. And you could look at the stock market for confirmation, but I've done that. It doesn't do no good. If you're trading this instrument, if you're playing the guitar, you're playing the guitar. When you're playing drums, you're playing drums. Unless you multi-tracked yourself, which you can do that. But it's all traps. Everything's a trap. Everything's a trick. As like I said in that one video, they're tricking you. They's be tricking you. Yeah. There's a pot of gold trading, right? But the pot of gold's down here. And you're really crapping your pants when you buy down here. I get the fact that a lot of people don't want to do this trade. They're like, yeah, but it's about to break out. Look, it just broke. Look, it's breaking out. I mean, I've seen this. I've bought down here. And I know what the breakout traders are thinking. You know, we all know what they're thinking. It's going to follow through. It's a sad thing. When we all have the same view of this. So down here, at this time of day, in this moment in time, and this is probably some major support on the weekly, could even be. This is a 5-minute chart. They're down here feeding off these wicks. And they break it out, and people are like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you're like, damn. They back it away. It never comes back. Comes back to here for the scalpers to scalp it there. So you're looking at all these scalpers scalping their heads off. And that's why I decided to be a scalper. For the most part, everything's a scalp. Yeah, you can predict these markets way out into space, all months ahead. I see how right I was. Yeah, but see how brutal that ride was? You were married to that psycho, babe, that Spazzarella, for how long? Man, no wonder you got, like, look how wrinkled you are. How many times did you guys... And don't you love it when the girl that you're with hires some guy that doesn't know how to do something to work on the house, and you're thinking, well, he must be banging her because he totally doesn't even know how to use a laser level. This is a problem too. So that might be what's actually screwing up your trading. You're married to a box of chocolate, melted chocolates. The labels are gone. You can smell the coconut in there, but you know what? I don't like coconut. So another problem. So life's a bunch of problems. Okay, I'm looking for this follow through. 5 minutes setup. It could come raping back. Always, the market's like a Doberman pincer on cheap meth. Anything can happen. But I've made money on these trolling scripts of psycho limits. So next week, I'm going to try to run it on this demo with the idea that I'm not going to abuse it. Right? I'm not going to overtrade it. So I'm up on this Australia CAD here. So let me get out of this Australia CAD. And that was like, I just really randomly traded this thing today and kind of just piled into it hard. It was 1Ks. This account started at 10 grand. I'm down about $1,000 here. And just pulling the button. I suppose if I really was to take it seriously on this demo, I would figure out the risk of ruin if I hit all the buttons and all that nonsense. But come on, let's be realistic. Who's got time for that back testing shit? That's pussy stuff, you know. I mean, that's obviously for queers. You back test that, really? You can shadow box till your hands fall off, but until you just place one order out there and see how you can shit your pants over, even losing $5 if your ego's invested in that trade. That's what's really going to matter. Now I could pluck off. I got a button here to take all winning trades off the table. As I see this top order's winning, I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm getting out of that. That trade sucks. And keep reducing my exposure too. Now you can run around nude, and you can jump in the water, and you can swim in ice, but you can't do it for very long. I'm just speaking for myself. If I'm in a trade, I see my equity swinging around, I'm like, no, sir, don't like it. There is a cure for that. There really is. Just scalp this stuff. Why do you want to predict this stuff 5 years in it? You know, about, yeah, well, fundamentally. And this guy with the fundamental video, he's killing me. He could not find a trade on the screen. I'm like, you can really not find a trade there? You're really going to tell me, well, you know, fundamentally, you know, the cutest thing you said in the video was, as the British pound was tanking, and had been tanking for the last 15 minutes or 2 hours, and there was big news coming out, and he said that the market was ruining his trade. Because since the news hadn't come out yet, this is the funniest thing in the world, since the news hadn't come out yet, that this move didn't make sense. Unless it's inside information. But that move did not make sense. Sorry, I'm having a Hillary moment here with my voice. But I'm not going to fall over, but man, I wish I could. How's somebody, and why are these people voting for Hillary Clinton? Jesus Christ. I don't get, like, embrace your corruptor, right? So this is Stockholm Syndrome. Let's get more of the same. And this is what I'm trying to prevent in this Forex thing. This is why I rip people to shreds. I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to expose the fact that, you can call a move in the market, but it's really how big are you in and what kind of trader are you? And you don't need any kind of special tools other than seeing that the markets, 80% of the market is chop, 20% is a real move. So here's a classic example on the 5-minute chart. Chop, kind of a real move, chop. Not the biggest moneymaker, but here's the baby trend traders. And I get the fact that on the 5-minute chart, this is a trend. There's also the bigger trend within the trend, and when people on these videos say stuff like, well, we're in a downtrend, so we're going to sell if it rallies to here. Okay, but there's also this trend. And if a guy's trading big enough here, he's making money. This is a high probability thing. This is a triple bottom. We buy at support, we sell at resistance. We buy, support, sell at resistance. Okay. So there's people living in this wheelhouse. There's people that want this one because they're like, oh, I put my sell limits right up there. Double top on the 5, I'm holding through. Then there's because you know they're going to smash this guy and then smash this guy in the news, whatever. Then there's people that are like, oh, I'll get in here. There's people that are probably running. There's probably actually Gartley setups in here because there's enough chop to give you the Gartley. Oh, look at this psycho smash on this. Who can't see this stuff coming? On the close, we're just about to smash this guppy into the ground, so I'm going to buy it as they just smash it. Look at that. 20 pips down hard. As you come into the top of the hour, oh my God. So here, I might cash out of this thing. Wait, no. Boom. So I don't know what I'm up on here. Nothing. Almost in profits on that. Look at how psycho this market goes right at close. Wow. Well, I can't wait to test this. So I'm trading super deep and super big. It's my big and deep. Man, these markets are nuts. You got 30 seconds left here. Wow. I'm telling you what. I don't even know what to say here. On close. Wow. Something's up. Look at this yen. I'm telling you. I think there's an earthquake going on. Oh my God. They're smashing this thing. That's the best time to trade that. So anyways, that was what it came up with was, if the market's going nuts, look at this Australian dollar. Are you kidding me? So here's my entry. Now, if this was going to be, if we were coming into the next session here, just look at that. Stock market's locked in. Here we go. Oh my God. The yen is on fire. Every market's on fire right now. 1 hour left. I don't have a buy stop to run on this, but I'm still long. So this just goes to show you that even if you got in on a bad trade where you're like, oh man, I'm getting killed here. If you wait long enough, and this is the trend trader's skill, is to have the patience to ride these equity swings. But those big juicy trades you see, people say, oh, I made 1,000 pips. I'm like, yeah. Wouldn't you have liked to trade 5 standard lots on 1,000 pips? Could you handle a 250 pip drawdown? If you didn't have a stop in there and you had a bunch of money in your account, you just made $10 million or you just made $1 million in like one month. Maybe you can't do that again. Maybe the market's going to turn around and crush you. So I don't have the script here, but if I had the, I'm going to buy every baby handle here, you can see how it would have looked here. You would have got filled here. I don't know what the spread was like when it dipped down there, so probably that was not really a real fill. But if you're going to come behind it here, come behind it here with this trailing by 10 pips deep. So there's maybe a 15-minute move left in this thing. And now we're going to hit that number. So just because, and this is a prime example right here, just because we have this beautiful top bottom doesn't mean that they're not going to rip that puppy back at the top of the hour in this 5-minute scalper window. And this is what people are talking about. Oh, see, all the stops that we're stacking up here on this doji, this is what that guy was saying, the thing, well, you're going to lose. Yeah, you're going to get your ass kicked here. If your stop happened to be wide enough on this doji, you're up on this trade just by sheer stupidity of the volatility drying up and blammo. For the trend traders, their stop may be down here, and they're going to buy more on this pullback. They already got long on this, or they're waiting for that fill, and that was their fill, and they're going to ride the last 15 minutes for a high probability price pulse. Boom. As you come up into the top here and trap the 15-minute structure here. Get above the 74.93, pop to the round, everybody cashes out, everybody goes home happy. So I'm going to wait for one more minute here. I mean, for 5 more minutes here. 6 more minutes. 6 more minutes. But you'll see a lot of this this double bottom here is beautiful. It's just a single bottom. Or this is a 15-minute. The double bottom here probably looks just like a single bottom on the half hour. No big deal. It's barely a double bottom there. So could we come back up to the round that, look at this thing feed off of the 100 pip handle on close on the round. Smash down. Finish off the day up in here maybe. Maybe. It's middle of the road for this. Everybody's square. So everybody squares up their positions. This is the last price pulse. 15-minute. 5-minute. Nice thing about closing prices is they sync up. This top bottom here, double top becomes a single bottom, syncs to the 15 as this one bottom. Fix the scale, and you can see how this, the real structure of the market's closing prices, it's not these fucking wicks, people. Stop it. Stop it with that candlesticks. Step away from the candlesticks, people. It's hurting your brain. So this one here is the one you can't see on the, you can see it on the 5. This guy here on the 5 looks like this on the 15. It's actually off this spot. You don't see it. It's just a soft spot. So a 5-minute chart is totally tradable. And if you have on the left hand of the screen, you got the other time frame running. We can switch back and forth here. So waiting for this thing to come up and trap the bulls. Anything above here, I'm getting out. This is the trap zone. So it's boring, so I'll come back. The end of the day is coming. I've got, it's 10 minutes. I'm dumping all the winners here. I'm up 27 cents there. Now I'm going to dump out everything there because we're done with that move. It could go higher. I'm slightly in, but I had to reduce my exposure. Now, if these other ponies come in, if you're trading a bunch of stuff in a completely psycho random manner, then that works. If you did the risk of ruin on that, now I don't know where I'm at on this account, but now you can do some spectacular performance. I'm down like $1,000 I think, something. But I'm just focused on the process, man. So yeah, this is going up, but that kickback there, and of course that happens all day long on the 5 minute. You don't have to trade the 5 minute. You can trade the 15. And you can trade, if you're going to trade single drops, you can trade more than one currency. It's kind of hard to trade these blanket orders. Now, coming in next week, I'm going to test out this scheme here of these psycho plunge orders across a couple pairs. If you run Australia to the dollar, Australia to the whatever is easiest to imagine, hey, that looks like it's on sale, or that looks like it's going to fill this big giant hole. So an Australian dollar, when we came down here into the, this is the 15 minute, and just on the sheer fact that if you clear off all these and look for the 1 hour, say the 1 hour pivots, you're only going to see this one here. So here's where the top became a bottom. We never made it down there. So if you had a buy limit down there, very disappointed that you didn't get that ricochet off that. Here you got the, since there's doji stacked up internally here, every time you see these little baby things, that's really a big deal. Really, the noise right there is your fair value, like the center point. So not a good fill there. If you took the aggressive entry to put your buy limits on this, on 1, 2, 3 top, you got filled there. And this also reduces your orders of hand-placed orders. You're always going to buy this top. Now, granted, they overshoot the runway on that. That's why you have to place more than one order. That's just how it is. This is a sad fact of this stuff. And if you want to, if you have a day job, you want to run multiple pairs with, say you're on the 4 hour for your buy limits. So here it would have been double top of the 4 hour, gets an order. There's 3 orders here. So maybe you move this order down to this bottom here. You never got filled. But here is 3 orders, right? Now this system, I did this in a video earlier, and it works. Now, this is if you're patient. If you have the patience to wait for this pending, and this pending to fill, and maybe you put a stop down here, like an end of the world stop. But your target is that we're going to come back up and retest this, dump you're out. Plus you're coming back to here. All the sellers are going to come in again. So over and over again, this is a completely dysfunctional relationship. Just remember, when you're trading, you're like a whore, a hooker, and you're trying to hook. I remember the Ross hook. I remember everybody, Joe Ross has these books for $150. I've got them. I have $450 invested in his books. And he talks about the Ross hook, and I thought, yeah, I get it. But look at the doji here. The body of this doji is connected directly to your sell limit bank. You don't have to be there for that trade. You don't have to be freaking out. I don't care if the fucking news came out. If you've got a stop up here, or you've got an end of the world stop, you've got to have the scalp to get out here. And you're going to go stop and reverse and go the other way. All right, stop and reverse, stop and reverse, stop and reverse. However this thing plays out. Now, they could tumble it back down to here. Well, of course, I'm going to buy this whole damn thing. So hopefully I won't blow this account up. And I'm not keeping track, though. And this is where, you know, everybody's free to run. Now, I'm completely comfortable at this point of swing trading it and scalping it. So since I've got a bunch of brokers here, I can run multiple. I would keep one strategy per account, though. So if you do have a volatility breakout thing, just get another broker and run the script, the one that has the favorable like the breakout strategy works on some brokers better than others because say you have a 2 pip fixed spread on the euro and you're going to have a more disciplined approach where you can be more regimented, that's the word. So this the Stapleton guy, he does regiments. I'm sure these guys do maneuvers and regiments. But isn't this easier? Am I making this stuff up? Are you going to get stopped out of some of this stuff? Yeah. But is this not the real structure of this triple top? Do they not come in here and have a Donnybrook? Is this not a big deal? This triple top doji. People come in there. Doji to doji. And when they rally this back, wow. Back to this window. This is an amazing place to... You have sell limits here that never got filled, but if they had, that would have made sense. We're back to the triple top fair value. If we can't get this thing, besides this trend line is the next thing to break on the Australian. Next to break. But are we just not going to get the fuck out here and wait for the pullback? Yes, because we know this dumb, hot babe is going to come back to the scene of the crime, this triangle, which we can draw this triangle in advance of this. And these are better trades than just a good old top bottom because all triple tops, all flags and triangles are really great revisit zones, but also the volatility bots making money here because you had the buy stops running, you're in an uptrend. You never got filled on this buy limit if you had this here. That's why you can't just depend on one style of entry. You need a balanced diet of okay, so we're getting some. I gotta buy the guppy here for a little scalp on the close, but let's see how this finishes off. And I'm not gonna say I coulda, woulda, shoulda because I just had to get out there because we only got 45 minutes left of movement and energy left in these markets. So if we go back to the 5-minute chart, I'm still barely in it. I'm in it to win it, damn it. But look at how close they take. I've seen them. I've watched the Asian sessions so many times where they come up here and they do this, where they come up here, they just never break out. That's a 0.5 pip breakout on bid. They never get it. The party started. Here again, never. They could come all the way, tumble all the way back. And this is the biggest problem is this a breakout or fake out? If you got in here and you're a range trader, you don't care because you're just getting out here because you're just assuming, well, you know, I'm a range trader. And on a larger time frame, yeah, maybe next week if we ever get above here, but you know what's going to typically happen. You break out, you pull back. If it's a real breakout, you pull back, and then it's off to the races. Then it really takes off. Just like this breakout. Breaks out, comes back, and then we're really off to the races. Okay, they're just crushing that euro to the dollar right now. Just crushing it. But yeah, the 5-minute chart. Just trade the 5-minute top bottoms. You could trade it at the market. You trade it on single drops right here. Got plenty of time to place this order. You didn't get filled. So, hey, you got filled on this one. Here, you got filled. You got buy limits based on this. You're like, oh yeah, it comes back there. I want it. Sure. Is this a better price than this price? Yeah, but if your buy limits were on the cave in, you filled up here, you're up. End of story. You made money, and you made money in just a simple. Markets really do have support and resistance. It's almost unbelievable. Take a look at the triple bottom on the 4-hour euro. Right? Check out this psychosis here. Quad bottom. Euro yen. 4-hour chart. Quad bottom. Do you see any Fibonacci mysteries here? 200 pips up, 200 pips down. Oh. 200 pips, 200 pips, 200 pips. Can we finally break out? I don't know. This is a bad relationship. You're never going to get... No. Just... How long is this going to go on? Wow. And maybe it trickles down here, it gets trapped a little bit, and then, oh yeah, and then it weasels its way and it breaks out, and this whole thing becomes nothing but a big accumulation phase. Because nobody's willing to sell. We're all trapped in here. For whatever reason, there's more vacuum above us than there is below. And you just go, it's just, nature's always trying to fill the hole. There was these guys on the radio in the morning here, funny guys on the radio, and they used to say in the morning show, if there's a hole, something's going in it. And it was, you know, obviously a sexual reference. But the market's no different. No different. If there's a hole, something's going in it. So there's always a hole forming. Here's a vacuum. Here's this vacuum. Another vacuum. Vacuum to vacuum. Here's the next vacuum. Could we go up? Yeah. Could we keep tanking? Sure. But this vacuum is telling you, wow, baby needs to breathe. And, man, look how ridiculously rangy this pair is. Anyways, this is supposed to be at the Australian dollar. But there's an example of, if you call these trends up and down here, right, that's always the, what do you call it? What is a trend? What's your idea of a trend? A blast in one direction, or a drift, or a nice churning, predictable thing. Okay. So the sell here, I think I put on the hedge here. I'm not sure I'm running a hedge pot here. So look, I'm up 28 bucks. So the guy says, oh, good luck with that. And this is the one, I don't know if I talked about this one, but this is a massive order that actually locks in a hedge. So here I could cash out because I can see right here, I think this is done. And I hope that cashes out. I don't know if I have. Maybe this broker closed already. Yeah, I think they closed at 4 o'clock. Anyways, but there you go. Prime example of stupidity trading. I got into the hedge here and got out. It's done. Let's go back to this last gasp here. We're going to try to trap by the close of Forex here, we're going to try to go back to the round number within 10 pips of it. And we kind of want to get back to this safe zone here. This is the squirrel across the road theory of trading. And if Wyckoff's trading, this is the accumulation. I'm going to jump the creek here and maybe pop up. Okay. More boredom. So bottom of the hour is coming. Countdown. Spreads are going to get kind of crappy. One price pulse left. One price pulse per person, please, people. But this is the stupidity of trading. Caught in a range. How can you play this to make money? Can you micromanage this? Sure, if you don't mind. But I can't say that you'd want to necessarily be running, you're probably going to be trading, you have to resize the trading because the spread's your obstacle here. So if you see a top bottom that's the size of the spread, forget about it. You're never going to make money on that. So maybe you have to go to the half hour. So you have limited trading here. And this pays to get in. These two orders are bigger within the spread. Otherwise, you're going to just get chop. It's Chopville. But this correlates the 4 hour beautifully. Here's your triple. Here's your 1 hour. If you scrunch it up, there's the 1 hour. Look at this beautiful quad bottom here. Man, look at that. That dumb or what? That's the wicks of the 4 hour wicks. The 1 hour wicks, the 4 hour wicks. So you want to trade that wick for the scalp, high probability. Hold through the move to the next thing, get out. Here's the 1 hour top bottom. 1 hour charts are completely logical. We're probably going to try to come back to this. Next target here. Next target's here. This is the doji. Here's the ultimate target. That was the bottom for the wick entry. Probably the spread is too wide to get filled perfectly there. Okay. So half hour left. We'll see what the spread is here. Come back just before the close. There's the 15 minute still screaming up. 5 minutes fizzling. Can't seem to get to the end zone. 10 pips away. I couldn't wait for the top of the hour. So the bottom of the hour just came and went. And this is the last chance to get this thing to break this high of this saucer bottom here. So we just nip it up here and then out. Now, it could go crashing through. But if this is really going to go up, people are going to look back later on. If this goes up this week and it takes out this trend line, which this is the obstacle, we're right up against that. Also a good place to sell because this bottom comes as top. But the problem is it's coming back kind of fierce there. Maybe it's just a place to go flat. Wait for it to go sideways, drop the bracket bot, the breakout bot, and just let that guy do its magic. And, next week, 1 hour view, here you would tighten up this trend line and see that you broke that quad trend line on the 1 hour. And then you go to the half hour and see how that's the fake breakout on the trend line. But this fractal here, like if you drag this over, this is like your, now you're a pitchfork trader. The top becomes the bottom. This is this is like a miter box, if you ever cut wood in a miter box. So where's the next proposed resistance? There, and then and if you do a perpendicular to this, then you're going to have like a Gann grid going. You see how symmetrical that is? So this is like 90 degrees to that, and you just copy that. So you could see how the market could be coming up into here. It'd be a perfect Gartley, perfect Batwing. I guess you're not supposed to say that anymore. Cypher. I looked up Cypher one day, and I think it was like, I don't know, Egyptian swords. I don't know. I don't know what Cypher is. Sounds like something off a Star Trek episode. CipherBot. They couldn't get that CipherBot running. I wonder why. It's just ridiculous, man. It's fantasy trading. I don't know. I don't have the patience for this. Okay, so every minute that goes by is just a confirmation how impatient I am. So I don't like these kind of trades. I like to have the market go ballistic, and when I turn around, there's money there. This kind of creeper gear, like, oh yeah, we're going up, like whatever, like this is part of the relationship I don't appreciate. Actually, you kind of count. It's more fun to have a girl that doesn't know where she wants to go than one that knows where she wants to go. So what you wish for, in the back of your mind, because I had this girl once that I was married to, and she was like, oh no, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And the next girl was like, whatever. And actually, I kind of longed for the girl that had this structure. But I definitely liked the fact that I didn't have some nagging bitch with me. That was an improvement. Felt very good about that. And so this is like a nagging bitch, this trade. Oh, we're going to go up and trap these guys. I'm going to go down. And blah, blah, blah. Now, these things go off like popcorn all day long, and I guess if you're do a single drop theory, and later on I'm going to try to do a order placement for, if you're one of these people that trade 26 pairs, I know that there are actually some insane amount of pairs. There is the Mexican peso, for God's sake. And all the traps, you can see them coming. And if you're going to scalp that first trap, that's the high probability scalp, and then you're going to do the, okay, now we're going to retest or something else is going to happen. But always aware of the fact that when volatility dries up, and I'm sure that if you had a volatility bot that would buy at the market if your moving average is pointing up, it's not to say that you're not going to get whipsawed on any type of bot, because the trend may have drifted too slow for that moving average, and now, then unless it's a self-adapting moving average, which is really what it is when you draw these manual trend lines, it's a self-adapting to what's really going on trend line. So we're waiting for this last gust of wind to the north side so that we can make something into the close here. And the guppy is dead on at 133, go figure. So 133 on the guppy right now. And gee, with 15 minutes to spare, now that's a conspiracy. Forget all the chemtrail stuff, forget the flat earth. It's all about the round number and what time is it, right? It's hammer time. So they trap these guys. Look at this. The bulls are waiting for a breakout. Oh, this is boredom. But the end of the thing, we're looking for a 15-minute psycho squeeze. If there's a short squeeze on this Australian dollar to the round handle, it'll be a sensical day. And that's just how these markets are. So I watch these markets continually, and I'm just fascinated by how dumb it is that when people want to fancify it, and then I see that Fibonacci tool come out, I just think, oh, please, but don't play a cover song. We're jamming. Like, I don't know if you play music, but if you play jazz music, you're just playing the beat. So tops become bottoms. You don't care about the time signal. You don't care about the loudness or the quietness. You don't care about the range. You just care about, well, where's the center point? Where can I pivot off of? So that when the market goes sideways, you know that this is where people think everybody agrees. But being disagreeable is what this whole game is about. The market goes from agreeing at a delta, creates a flag, whatever have you, the pennant, whatever people want to paint that. And so that's a known factor. You can have an ATR bot that only puts on hedges during a 7.5 pip. I'm sure there's a bot out there for that. Come on. But now if you turn this bot on during the news when the ATR is outside of the range of, and I'm guessing from what I've been told, is that an EA can only think on one level. You can't, otherwise you got to have another computer running the EA, and they're both feeding into the same account. So you have the long-term moving average EA, and you have the volatility bot running. Or maybe the volatility bot running in the background for you, and you're trading manually on top of it. Whatever, right? But this slow creeper gear into the close is stupid. Looks like they're going to crush this guppy again. They're below 133 now. We got a 20 pip drop coming. Yeah. So really the yen is just out of control, strong against the pound. The pound's getting punished. I'm buying if it drops 30 pips deep here in the next 15 minutes. So if I get a 30 pip, which earlier I got a 30 pip slam and it retraced 15. If it does a full retrace, you're going to have a hammer on the 1 hour or the 4 hour. So if you have a 5-minute smash, comes flying back up, you're going to get a 15-minute hammer. That is probably the best trade on the planet. Best scenario on the planet. It's like this. In the 15-minute chart, you see this thing plunge like this. You're getting filled on this whole thing. you have a button you hit that places buy limits like this. You scalp a little bit to here inside of that script. The rest you let ride. And you just got out. Now, and maybe you're out of 50% of your position by here. It's designed so that when you drop it, half of the thing's going to get out from when you dropped it, from that price that you consider to be this pivot, or the array was situated so that it did capture that. And so how you launch these orders, but having a continual inventory of purchase agreements down here. So as soon as a bunch of cars come up, if you're a guy that fixes used cars, as soon as 10, when you hear that there's a flood somewhere, you're like, oh God, I'm really good at fixing flooded cars. And you just load up your trailer, you bring them home, you fix them up, you sell them. And you just made a guaranteed pile of money, really, you know, because you can see the opportunity. Well, that's all this is. You just have all these like, hey man, if you get any cars, here's a bunch of money, buy them. And then you dump them, and then you rebuy them again, and no trend trader is going to like this kind of behavior. So I think range trading is definitely difficult. And so what is this thing doing? Is this the trap, and this is the accumulation, and now we're going to come back to here. This is going to fail. It's going to hang out. It's going to break through. Or are we going to have to go through all this garbage here, weasel down to here again, then finally break out south? I'd say go to the, if that's true, go to the larger time frame. So if you go to the 1 hour chart, I don't know. I think I'm going to get out if it goes up here. That's all I know. So yeah, it could come tumbling all the way back down and retest this channel. So here's your miter box running. So you're going to speculate your next landing zone. So just keep moving this down in an even linear rate of descent. So you can see all these areas that you would have your orders in these pockets here. So do you think we could get down to here? By no, it's going to be more like this. If we get down here, you have to imagine it walking down one of these channels in your miter box. It's more likely that it's going to do one of these. Because you're too far away, the market wants to get back to the last known safe, dare I say, what do they call them? Safe zones or something? These girls on campus. Safe space, right? Safe space is the fair value. So the market definitely likes that. So come back to here. But on this 1 hour chart, can you picture it dropping? So how would it get down there? This gives you the map, the momentum map, because this is a certain rate of drop, right? And here's your other rate of drop on top without overcomplicating it. This is for these people that are doing Gartleys, you have to have another angle that's not the same across here, because you have to accommodate the fact that when this momentum dries up, this drop may look something like this. But you're also just getting in because of this. So you can get all Gartley, but in the end, the market only sees price. It does not see your it doesn't see this rate of change that I've chosen for it, that I'm willing to buy at this line and dump at the top of this, because I see that as my channel of price pulse channel. So I'm going to get the hell out. I don't need to ride this thing through. This is ridiculous, what's going on with this market. Look at this creeper gear ride back to the top. Last gust to win, maybe. So your 5-minute bot, if the spread was tight enough and you were an ENC broker, would you have made money on the breakout strategy here on close? Yeah, you'd be up, right? Every 5 minutes you drop a buy stop and a sell stop. Of course, your buy stop is going to be up here. And actually, you'll start getting filled up here. So you're not in profits until you can get to where you're at right now. Here they chop you to death. Right? They kicked you out, but you knew that was going to happen. Just like you can know what's going to happen here. That's why you got buy limits here that never filled, mind you. If you're really bullish on this, you're getting in a little bit here. You got a little bit here. Right? So, you know, have you ever see Woody Allen movie where he's a machine? The robot movie, Woody Allen. Sleeper. Anybody see Sleeper? He says it's a Jewish tailor, and the robot's a Jewish robot, and it says, or something. He says, hey, you know, the suit doesn't fit. He goes, so we'll take it in a little. Take it in a little. Okay, so this is the problem. The market's going to close. No more fun. Spreads are too wide to trade. Going to wait till Sunday night and see what happens. Oh, see, they're just popping it up there. So you got a whole 7 minutes left. The spread just got to 3 pips here. So all of a sudden, it's untradeable, and they've just trapped the bulls on the edge there. So I'm looking for this thing to get caught in a logjam up here. And then the possible pullbacks are going to be always horizontal, but it is fun to put this on here, and you can also get carried away and put too many on there. So you can have this, you're like, well, I'm gonna sell up into that. Right? So you keep extending that into forward into space. But you know, if we busted this, we have to have another line here. So this is where it gets kind of ridiculous. But if you're really gonna do it, right, you got this inflection here. So, oh, could it spike up into here by there? You know, you got to do all the at that point, you know, you're probably just putting in a Gann grid there, because you can see it getting to, if you consider I don't know what the time is per diamond here, but that's how you'd plan out the where you speculate we're going to go to. But you know, we're just going to go to this. But I guess you can kind of time the, you know, we're going here. This is a classic target. So is it going to be like straight up now? Or does it have to sit here and weasel out? If it does weasel out, maybe it's just a trap to here, and then we still got to come back down into this. So if you had speculative paths, right? Channel paths. So we're either going to walk up this guy. I guess you want to pick a different color. So if you had your this is your bullish stairway, and the other one's your bearish stairway going down. But right now, hell, everybody's getting out. Party's over. Retracement's over. If we dilly-dally here, back off, come back to these dojis, buy limits sitting here. That might queue up to a nice symmetrical triangle here. We come back to here. We get in here. And we got the whatever have you, whatever kind of design you want to lay on top of the market comes back to here. And then, oh, you know, and maybe it does have to chop in a narrower range, but these two dojis are the big-ass buy limit zone just from a hand play standpoint. And then maybe you grid that out. whatever you can afford. And then you know that when we come back into that pool, that you're going to scalp some of that. You have to. I just don't know how these people are doing it. They're claiming all these, oh, I'm trading. I'm like, God, really? They'd be like married to 8 insane women at the same time. Nobody needs that. Okay. So I don't know. Let's look at the 5 minute. Got 4 minutes left. I like to watch the close here. Certainly fascinating as all get out. And here you can see your if you zoom out, this is the nagging relationship. We're going up. Yeah. Well, I mean, barely. Wow, it's just taking forever for this to finish off, but this is just, now the spread's really bad. It's at 30, it's at almost 4 pips. This is really untradeable. Any scalping standpoint, everything's gone really wide. Everything's dastardly wide now. 2 minutes left. And waiting to get filled on selling the euro to the pound right now at the seriously psychological round number. See, now the spread's at 5 pips here, and they've trapped the buyers up here on the top. So that's why you had to get out on the clock there. Now we could come flying back. Okay, so you go to the this is the 15-minute world. And here it looks like the market's going to close in 1 minute. And you just, here's fair value back down here, obviously. We're going to buy there. No-brainer entry. Next place to get in for the buys. 15 seconds left. See the 5-minute crush? They trap these guys. Spread 6 pips now. Now the spread's going to go nuts. Maybe close at 8-10 here. This broker. So that broker's gone. Okay, so that's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.